I mean, first of all, I liked the fact that the DG, the brilliant presentation, asked for one or two questions. We all came in with so many of them, which just a testimony of how important is the social registry. I'm very, very happy to be here. I think this is a historical milestone, and I mentioned it before. This is absolutely historical, and I'm going to be very short. I don't want to repeat all the good points that were made earlier, particularly by Dr. Sanya Nishtar, but I would like to thank and congratulate all of those who have been involved under the leadership of Dr. Sanya Nishtar, but also all the secretaries involved, Secretary Bist, all the government officials, the NGOs, all those who have done this amazing effort. This is absolutely historical, not only in terms of its magnitude. This is the first digital, detailed, 45 variables at least, surveyed 34 million households, and it's the first one in South Asia. It's a world-class registry. It took time, it was difficult, but it is now completed, and this is an absolutely major achievement, because the NSCR will now be the backbone of the information system of the government interventions to support the poorest and to target direct support and to adjust and react to shocks when shocks hit, be it at the national level, be it different ministries, be it different provinces. This will be the backbone of household level interventions by the government. So it is an absolute game changer for the ability of the federal government and the provincial governments and all ministries to support households in the country. So this is an absolutely historical moment. And in fact, the country has come a long way since 2008, when BISP was launched, when there was no database or an objective methodology for targeting poor households. And the government had decided to identify potential beneficiaries through either parliamentarians or local administrations, with all the biases that this could involve. So this has been a long journey, but such a successful journey to come to what you have now with the National Registry. As you know, or some of you may know, we at the World Bank has been supporting the government of Pakistan actually since 2009 on this topic through a number of projects and programs, and it has been mutually rewarding. We learned a lot as well, and one important milestone was indeed the adoption of the proxy means test. And the value of a proxy means test is as much as the data that comes into it. So with an updated NSCR, we are very, very optimistic and hopeful that the new proxy means test that came out of it will increase significantly the quality of the targeting of the program, and reduce inclusion errors, but also reduce, quite importantly, exclusion errors, and have more and more coverage of the poorest quintile of the population. So it will be, the NSCR will make it easier to identify potentially beneficiary households for normal, regular government programs, but as Dr. Sanya Nishtar mentioned earlier, it will help also make the safety net program more adaptive in emergency situations, something Pakistan has done extremely well at the onset of the COVID pandemic by expanding cash transfer from 4.5 million households to 15 million families, which was an amazing and historical achievement. Now having the database to be able to react in such a way, in a more targeted way in the future, will be absolutely crucial. The one thing that I was very, very pleased to hear, and the World Bank will continue to support BISP in this, is first making the survey dynamic and this update process, and having it basically updated every 4 years, is absolutely critical. Second, and that's something Director General mentioned earlier, there were a number of questions on this, is on the data exchange and having different departments, the provinces, the provincial programs access the data so that this backbone is used by all departments and provinces, and that's absolutely crucial, and we'll continue to support this as it is important. And in fact, one thing I wanted to, don't want to add a question to the many questions that were out there, but I think one thing that will be important in this API and exchanges with administrations and provinces is that it goes both ways, so that the National Social Registry also collects information on beneficiaries of other programs. Say you have a social protection program in Punjab or in Sindh, then the National Social Registry should receive the information on the beneficiaries and what they benefited from the provincial programs or the different ministerial programs, so that the NSCR is also updated by the different organizations that will access the data. Last but not least, there's access to the data for government programs and institutions, and then I was very pleased to learn that the data in an anonymized fashion will also be made available to scholars, to researchers, to think tanks, to analysts. This is absolutely crucial, not just for a research perspective, which is important as well, but to have continuous new information, new research, new analysis of how good is this data. As I said earlier, the best test of how much a registry is useful and is effective and is of quality is how much good it is at targeting the poorest, and how much the targeting has few inclusion or exclusion errors. And for this you need scholars to be able to access this data, of course in a carefully anonymized way, but we are very much looking forward to this, and I was very pleased to hear from the Director General, from the team, from Dr. Selenishta, that the data will indeed be made available. So let me end here and congratulate you all for this achievement, and we're very proud to be part of it, and I would like to thank you again. Thank you very much.